90.3 KEXP, online all over the world at KEXP.org. My name is Sharlese. I am the host of Audio Oasis, and it's now time for live music by Dave Depper on KEXP.
such a very long time. It may be home, but it's only a place to stay. 'Cause I never stopped running, it's taken all my time, holding out for something that I can't find. Yeah, I never stopped running, it's taken all my time, holding out for something that I know I can't find. Do you want love? I don't know what that means anymore. Do you want love? I don't know what that means anymore.
Dave Depper on KEXP.
This is not communication, just a facsimile of interaction. Am I wasting your time? Are you wasting mine? And is it ever alright to lie? This is not communication, just a fragmented grasp at relation. Am I wasting your time? I guess it feels fine. These ties connect, but do not bind. It's impossible, I know, and the distance grows with every misconnection. Are we fated to repeat the same mistakes we made for half of our lives? Communication. This is not communication. This is not communication. This is not communication.
You've been listening to live music by Dave Depper here on Audio Oasis on KEXP, and he's performing music from his new release, Emotional Freedom Technique. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for coming to the show today.
Thank you for having me at the show today.
Yeah. And congrats on your new release.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, which we're going to get into. So I also wanted to tell you that I was in Portland over the weekend. And I went to PDX Pop Now.
Oh, excellent.
It was so much fun. I loved it, the entire thing. And
was it your first time to that?
It was my first time.
Cool.
And everything, just 2 stages and under the bridge and the river down the street. And
all ages and free?
Yeah, and all the families and friends and support, like community support that comes out for everybody.
Yeah.
Super fun.
It's a definite point of pride for Portland.
Yeah,
Something we're very proud of down there.
So great. So I broke my shoe. I broke my sandal.
The one you're wearing right now?
No. This is the ones I didn't bring because I didn't bring a backup pair of any shoes.
Did you break it at PDX Pop?
I didn't.
Okay.
I broke it after the first night.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up on Saturday and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get a new pair of shoes. I don't know where. My friends live downtown in the Pearl District. So, downtown's easy. So I'm running around downtown. I'm like, I only have an hour before my friends are going to go record shopping and leave me. And I ran into the Tender Loving Empire store.
Excellent choice.
Yeah, and it reminded me, well, there you were. Your vinyl and your CD was prominently displayed.
The life-size posters everywhere, was that up?
No,
because I paid for those.
Not up.
No?
That wasn't up, just the vinyl and the CD.
Cool.
But it reminded me of today, so that's nice.
I should probably go back to Seattle and interview that dude. Is that what you thought?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, well, that's coming up. I should read more about him.
Did you find anything out?
I did. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so actually my next line is, so reading about you, I found out that you have some interesting recording techniques. So I thought, I was reading about the RAM project, and I thought that would be a nice lead into the new album. So can you talk about the RAM project?
Sure. In 2010, I had a little bit of recording equipment that I acquired and had no idea what to do with it. But I knew I wanted to record a record, and I wanted to learn how to record a record while I was doing it. I also didn't have any songs written, so I decided to pick an album that I liked to recreate note for note. And for whatever reason, I picked Ram, the second solo album by Paul McCartney. And I started a blog back when there were blogs, before Twitter and all that took over, whatever.
just to kind of hold myself accountable. So I'd like do one song at a time, and I'd play all the parts, and like I didn't even play drums then, so I like recorded one drum at a time, and like just the hi-hats by themselves. And I would put up the songs on this blog as I finished them, and a couple record labels, Jackpot in Portland and City Slang in Europe, like found this blog and were like, we'd love to put this out on vinyl. And I said, you're crazy, but okay. And like 6 months later, the Ram project came out.
And then in 2015, you did another interesting recording project where you recorded during an album during sound checks.
Ah, yes. Okay, so I was on tour with Death Cab for Cutie in Europe in November, I believe it was, and anybody listening that's been on tour knows that there's a crazy amount of wasted time where you can't really leave because you might have to do something soon or whatever. But there's nothing to do. So I was like, okay, for once and for all, I'm gonna use this time to do something creative. So I brought a laptop and a recording interface, and I decided to just improvise solo looped guitar into this thing at all of our sound checks for a half an hour every day, and not listen to it until I was done. So I got back from that tour and had something like 10 hours worth of whooshy ambient guitar stuff, and I edited it down, and I released an EP of that earlier this year called Utrecht Suite, and a bunch more of it is actually going to be coming out next year on a vinyl release.
Awesome. So now you have Emotional Freedom Technique.
Yeah.
And that, Nick Jana kind of helped you with that a little bit, with the idea, the concept, and it took off into this.
Yes. So going back again in time to not long after the Ram project, I now knew how to make an album, but I did not know what kind of music I wanted to make or what I sounded like or anything like that. And so I did this thing called the 20-song game, where you agree to write and record 20 songs in 12 hours. And you generally do this with like 3 or 4 other people alone. And then at the end of the day, this crazy day, you all get together and listen to each other's stuff and kind of critique it and that kind of thing. And so the cool thing about the 20-song game is it just puts you in this frenzied creative state where you can't afford to like second guess yourself or self-edit it, because you just have no time to work on anything. So at the end of this day, I had a bunch of pretty terrible songs, but I had a couple that showed some promise, and 2 of them were songs that ended up being on Emotional Freedom Technique, and they were these kind of like sad synth poppy things that I'd never tried writing before, and I was like, oh, this is a road I could go down. And everyone I had done the game with that day was like, you should follow up on that. This is very intriguing. We did not expect this kind of thing from you.
Yeah.
So the rest of the album kind of grew around that seed.
So new sound and new approach and just new way of just doing the music, because you played everything on the album yourself.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like you've been in all the cool bands, a lot of cool bands.
Some of them, yeah.
Phenomena, Fruit Bats.
I've been in here with both of those bands, not in the new studio, but in the old one.
Not in Death Cab yet, because they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time they did a one here was, but I'm gonna make them do it.
Great. I just wanted you to say that.
On the record.
So back to you. So all of this is like you were playing with other people, but now you're the front person and you're doing everything. How does that feel?
Weird, but it's gradually getting more fun.
Yeah.
I was like kind of literally having sleepless nights and panic attacks like 4 months ago, kind of imagining how this show would come together and who would be in the band and like what the music, the instrumental layout would be and stuff. And I picked the right people and things got put together, and it happened. It was kind of one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Did you feel any pressure making this album, like getting it finished, because you did everything yourself?
Yeah, doing it by myself kind of, the hard thing about doing that is like doing it in a vacuum. You kind of have no one to bounce ideas off of. Like if you're in a band, or even if you're working by yourself but with a producer, you sort of like you get immediate feedback, like, oh, that's cool, you should do more of that or whatever. And I just had no way of being objective about any of this and knowing that any of it was good. And I would like literally go like through 6-month troughs of like hating this album and not working on it. And then I'd go on tour and come back and listen to it and be like, oh, that was pretty cool, I should probably finish that up. So that was a large part of why it took so long, was just like second guessing things forever.
So you didn't share it with anyone? Like you didn't share tracks or share like
just
thoughts?
The teeniest bit. Yeah, I was kind of early on. I realized that I was like being hypersensitive to feedback, and if I played someone something and they weren't like, that was the most amazing song I've ever heard, I'd be like, oh, it's terrible. I'm not going to play it. And I think like one person was like, yeah, that's cool. And I was just like, oh God, this is awful.
So I guess one of the things that just hearing your process and talking to you now, it made me think that maybe this whole recording process and music in itself is your emotional freedom technique.
You hit the nail on the head. Yes, that's why the album is called that.
Yeah.
It ended up being, the process of making it was kind of this way of breaking out of some creative doldrums as well as some personal romantic sort of doldrums as well, and not really knowing what I was doing in either of those areas. And it sort of solved both of those problems in a way. It didn't solve them, but it released me from this sort of purgatory I'd been in for a number of years.
Do you feel like you learned anything else in this process? Anything else that you want to talk about with this album?
I got
feels
to know me.
Yeah. It seems just like a really deep thing to do, and also, this is going to be like a part of your life that you'll be able to revisit and know what's happening. What's going on.
It's true, yes. And even doing the shows a couple weeks ago, like the release shows, it was like I was kind of having an out-of-body experience singing these songs that the record ended up being this very like hyper-personal confessional record, which I never intended on doing. I'd started out like almost, it wasn't jokey, but just kind of like very detached pop songs. And I realized that like that wasn't connecting with me or anyone I would play it for, and that like kind of the only way forward was just really like go as deep as I could on this sort of analysis of why I kept making the same mistakes over and over and that sort of thing. So yeah, it really was a therapeutic thing, and just, how like if you're trying to bounce something off somebody, if you're describing a disagreement between two people and you're telling a third party and you hear yourself talking about something you did and you realize while you're talking about it, oh man, I'm the bad guy here. Yeah. Kind of making the record was a little bit like that. Like just, I one of the songs in particular started out as a very like anti the person the song was about kind of thing. And during the song, I realized that I was the bad guy in the song after all. So, and that had nothing to do with the album eventually, other than it made me realize the things you would realize talking through a therapist or something like that. So, man, I really rambled on that one.
Did you apologize? Did you at least sing the song to the person?
Well, I'll get back to you on that one.
All right.
When I'm back.
Cool. Well, with all that, we should hear some more music.
Okay.
Dave Depper on KEXP.
I wanted to be everything. The sunshine in your light, the darkness in your night. It wasn't to be anything. In the end I lost the fight. I just couldn't get it right. But oh, did I try. Never worked so hard in my has to end. These troubles that surround me are surely gonna drown me. It shouldn't be this tough to let you go, but you'll never know. All this color fades to black. I'm still dreaming that you're back, though I wake up every time, 'cause you never tried. Never worked a day in your life when everything we had, it started to go bad. You didn't even look behind you, didn't know where I could find you. Oh, did I try? Never worked so hard in my life. One day I'll try again. This feeling has to end. These troubles that surround me are surely gonna drown me.
You're listening to live music here on Audio Oasis by Dave Depper, and he's performing music from his new album, Emotional Freedom Technique. And you just released a new music video by one of my favorite directors.
Christopher Harrell. Yes.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Yes. And
Filmed here in Seattle.
yeah, I actually knew that you were doing it.
You did.
I mean, my friend Bobby was the producer.
Oh, Bobby's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, I'm doing the Dave Depper video. So I was looking forward to looking at it because I like it. And I like Christopher's work. And yeah, so we should talk about it a little bit. It's your voice on the radio. And
Which we didn't play.
No, you didn't play, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's another thing, for people to check out.
Yeah.
So Laura Gibson's in it, who you've worked with on other things and is on the album as well.
Yes.
And is your guitar in the video?
It is. This is the guitar that's in the video.
Yeah.
Yes, and the guitar that's on the song on the record.
Cool. It's a superstar. I might have to ask for its autograph. Sorry, that was super cheesy.
It's very, yes. It's pink.
Yeah.
I get guitars to match my pants.
Yeah, I was
so
going to ask about that too. Are you into pastels?
I am now, after working with Christopher Harrell on that video.
Yeah. Cool. So did you come up with the concept or did Christopher do it?
He did. My only direction was if you've seen any of Christopher's videos, they're always a little bit creepy and kind of funny and unsettling and weird. And I said, I want that. And I definitely don't want like a literal telling of the lyrics because the song's already very obvious in that way. So, and he had his initial idea was like, if you've seen the video, there's lots of guitars and synthesizers flying around. And he came up with this great treatment that was like just that, but instead of those things, he wanted fast food and candy bars and stuff floating around and burgers. And I was like, cool. How about not the food, but let's use synthesizers instead. So yes, other than that, it was all him and his awesome team.
Yeah.
And I love how it turned out.
It's dreamy.
It is dreamy. And I had to stand on a spinning pedestal for about 6 hours singing the song over and over.
Looking off into the distance.
Looking wistful, yes.
Yeah.
As
Well,
did
it's
Laura.
great. Yeah, we'll get it up on the online playlist so that you have easy access to it. Do you have anything else coming up that you want to plug?
I want to plug my awesome band.
Oh, yeah,
Can I do
please
that?
do. Yeah.
Right here is Miss Sarah Fennell.
Hello.
You've been on the KEXP sessions, yes. With she plays in a wonderful band from Portland called Lost Lander.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes,
remember that.
We've done this. You and I.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you,
You
too.
gave me a signed copy of the vinyl.
Yeah.
I have it still.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't throw it away.
No, no.
Over here we have Heather Woods-Broderick, who has also done this before. Yes?
No, not for my project though.
Well, you've been
What
here with...
project?
She plays with Sharon Van Etten
Yeah,
a lot
Cool.
of the time.
yeah.
Is that who you were here with?
I believe I was here with Indians.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to have you back.
Thanks. Nice
Yes,
to be
and
back.
she makes her own wonderful music. Has a great record that came out last year before,
2015.
2015,
Yeah.
called
It's
Glider.
time.
Yes.
Dave played all the bass on it.
Oh, cool.
It's the only reason I'm plugging it. Over here we have Justin Miller on the bass, and then Dana Jansen on the drums, and I'm introducing them at the same time because they have a great band called Dana Bowie.
Oh, yeah. I know that band too.
Yeah, and you've been in here.
On my show.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I recognize everybody.
Yeah,
You know.
we're all veterans.
Yeah.
We know how this goes.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming here, playing this great music.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
us. It's an honor to be on the show.
Cool. You've been listening to live music by Dave Depper here on Audio Oasis 90.3 KEXP, Seattle.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.